Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the DX Gamer Show. My name is Mike, aka Operation DX, and welcome to episode number 26. We are still flying this absolute beast of a craft as we left off in the previous episode, and as I expressed, we are going to do a heck of a mission with this thing, but first we need to dock up and we're going to refuel and get this thing all set. And I'm going to go ahead and accomplish that contract that I said in the last episode I kind of wanted to abandon. But that's minus 100,000 credits. I might as well just do it. It's super easy. I have to fly over a couple locations, take some gravitational scans, land down at one location, take a gravitational scan, and I'm done with it. Which gives me the ability to test one of the landing minor craft on this vehicle. So it's, you know, it's a perfect thing. I don't know, like, on average, like, different moons around different locations, like Ike compared to Minmus compared to Bop and Paul. I know, I mean, Bop and Paul are, like, super light, so they're easy to get on. But, yeah, it's a good test for the craft. And these craft actually don't need Kerbals to be on board because they do have probe bodies, but I'm going to go ahead and load it up with a Kerbal anyways, also just for testing purposes. Maybe you grab an EVA report or a surface sample or something like that. Not so much worried about the science anymore after that whole discovery by accident for this particular mission, because I wanted to have my good scientists aboard this thing. And now with this thing going off to Duna and to Jewel, the tech tree is pretty much going to get wrapped up most likely with this mission. But this is a big mission. This is going to be a multi-part episode thingy mabobber. So yeah, anyways, we ditched that tank like I was saying in the last episode. So we took all the fuel out of it and got rid of it, and I'm probably going to use again the oxidizer for the fuel cells if I need to do that for some reason. This thing can generate plenty of power with all its solar panels, not to mention the two side craft also have large solar panels on them, so they can run those beefy drills. So this thing has more than enough to be able to manage its power systems. And not to mention I put, I think, 2 large batteries. I think they give 4,000 each. So yeah, just really no problem there. Anyway, this thing, again, is a beast. So the RCS, it takes it a little bit to get into position, but here I'm kind of determining how exactly I'm going to dock this thing to the port here, because we have a lot of stuff sticking off the side. We got the heat dissipation panels, we got solar panels, and I'm probably gonna have to tuck a couple of them away to make sure that I don't run into stuff into the station. So yeah, this is a fairly, I don't know, it's not a super complicated docking, but it's definitely going to be a little more challenging. That one that I did a couple episodes back where I had to do it in the complete dark, that was definitely an interesting one, because I was like totally guessing. It makes me miss that mod. They used to have that mod that the docking port lining up indicate. I forget what it's called, but I absolutely loved it. But nope. Core game series, they'll be breaking the rules, and I know some of you have expressed I get some mods that aren't considered cheat-like, I guess you could say, just informational kind of stuff. But yeah, I just want to keep this vanilla. Yeah. All right. So again, yeah, I'm gonna probably be relying on the docking port's magnetic capability to get me all locked in. The docking on these very large craft are, it's difficult to get a really good alignment. I mean, you notice that I changed the camera like in every different way. I think if you target the docking port, the target indicator changes a little bit, so it kind of gives you some indication. But that's something that I think that the 1.0 version probably could have done a little better job on, you know, to let you know. I think there's this other mod too, is like a docking port camera thing. I mean, that would probably be that would be helpful for this as well. Anyways, you can see again, I mean, with just this interplanetary craft, the computer has a hard time. You can see my clock is once again yellow. And on top of that, we're next to a station that has the mining vessel docked to it, the station itself, a resource module. We're starting to get pretty part heavy, so you can kind of see the game is starting to crunch a little bit, and that's the thing that's kind of a shame with KSP, because it's fun to build monstrosities in this game. It's fun to build something just absolutely absurd, but the game just simply won't allow it, because there's like physics calculations on like every single part that you connect. And again, there was another real cool mod that would allow you to weld parts together, and dude, it made a huge difference welding those parts together. Unfortunately, it caused its own problems and that sort of thing. So anyways, the game's still running playably well with its frame rate, so it's not too big of a deal. All right, so here I am doing my standard thing here, just like looking back and forth, changing the camera angles. Looks like I'm I'm too high. I got to bring it back down, and I'm spending, I don't know, probably not that much RCS. Did I put a big RCS tank? I put the side RCS tanks on this thing. I don't know why I did that. I think to keep the length of the craft down. I didn't want it to be like too tall when I launched it. I wanted it to look stocky, and it definitely has a stocky look to it. Also, with the docking, the camera can kind of interfere a little bit. Like, depending on what mode you're in, if you're in free mode or orbital mode, sometimes it's better to switch that around to get the most optimum thing, because sometimes the camera just locks in a position and you just cannot see what is going on. So yeah, this is tough, man. Back and forth with the camera just to see. And another problem too is the craft is changing position when I'm moving the craft around. So that is actually making things difficult as well. And yeah, it's all about balance, man. You got to balance things out as best as you possibly can. Fortunately, I don't think I'm going to be actually docking this craft to too many things. Things are going to be docking to the two side crafts, so that will be easy because those are much more maneuverable and lightweight. So pretty much disabling my SAS again, and just allowing the magnetic capability of the docking port to do its job. In the meantime, go ahead and just activate the ISRU unit to refuel some of that monopropellant, refuel some of my stuff. Yeah. I could try to shift around a little bit. You can see that it's just kind of like angled, but I just got to give it a minute and it'll slowly pop in and connect to this. Yeah, I probably should have sped this part up. I apologize. Sometimes I don't think about that stuff and don't do the best job with it, but anyways, we are docked up. We're good. So now we're just going to basically just refuel the craft, get this thing all fueled up, topped off, transfer ore, all that stuff. And then in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and complete the gravitational scan mission. So going to speed time up for this part because I've got to save you after that whole docking thing. That whole docking thing did take a little while, but there's some stuff going on with the station, and man, this station looks pretty crazy, doesn't it? Just with all the stuff connected to it, it looks cool, man. I totally dig it. Usually my stations don't look this interesting. It's got that like asymmetrical kind of thing going on, you know. All right, so grabbing some fuel. I probably should just transfer fuel from the large orange tank and let the station itself just refill itself back up. But honestly, we do have 3 ISRU units connected to this thing, so it should be more than sufficient to take care of the job. All right, so I'm just trying to get a look here at the different locations. It looks like I'm flying over one of the locations, so I was kind of hoping to like kind of cheat and get that. Well, not cheats, not cheating. Just try to grab that scan, but apparently I'm not flying directly over, because if you notice when I was speeding up time, I was getting that you are entering this zone, you are exiting this zone, you are entering this zone, you are exiting this zone during the last episode when I was speeding things up. And I was kind of hoping that would just happen. But I don't think... So, like, here I'm looking at my gravitational scanner, but I haven't entered the zone. So, all right. It is time to go ahead and get my Kerbal out and get this mission knocked out of the way. And for this mission, Bill will be flying. For some reason, I didn't add the fancy probe cores that I unlocked for the 255th part for my ship, which I should have changed them out because the sidecraft do have probe cores. They're using the older ones. So it will allow Bill to enable SAS, even though he is a scientist. And, well, I guess closing that heat panel really didn't help me all that much because it's like right in the way of where Bill's got... Oh, good. Okay, so it is kind of moving out of the way. You know, one thing I don't like about these bigger heat panels is when you close them up, they instantly lock to their original position and then fold. Unlike the solar panels that actually kind of gradually fold and stuff. It's just kind of, you know, it's like one of those immersion things, like immersion breaking things. So it'd be nice if they, you know, turned and lined up and then closed up. I would prefer that. Now, with the camera changes, I wasn't exactly sure what pod that Bill was hanging out in. So the easiest way to figure that out was to do a crew report from that particular pod so I could find him. So that's why you saw that whole science thing pop up. And now it is time to undock this craft. So again, I'm kind of going to have to apologize a little bit about this episode because it was a lot of like management, station management, docking. I probably could have sped that docking part up a little bit more than I did kind of thing. So yeah, maybe in the future I do that. I said I was going to do that in the previous episode too. I was going to speed up the dockings, but I don't know. I thought this was kind of interesting. But yeah, there's a lot of station management in this episode. But it's a good pre kind of thing for the big stuff that we're going to do in the very, very near future with this kind of thing. But I actually am going to save you a little bit and speed up the video here. But yeah, again, this craft has its own large solar panels, which are absolutely necessary for the drilling thing. What I'm concerned about is the craft is so light that the drills are probably going to bounce this thing around. So yeah, just checking out the mission parameters, seeing which locations I can fly above to get the gravitational scan, and which location I actually have to land down on Minmus to capture. So just changing my orbit here. So there's going to be lots of plane changing here. Again, not too big of a deal. This guy is packing a LV-909 with one larger, smaller tank, I guess you could say. What is it called? The T-800 tank? I think that's what it's called. So, yep, just, gosh, man. I so wanted to get rid of this mission. I didn't want to do this, but I picked it up, so... Yep, just lining up. And here I'm in a much higher orbit than I was when I did this similar kind of mission earlier back in the series. Okay, there we go. So it's not so bad. You're not traveling super fast above Minmus. All right, so first one knocked out of the way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to knock all the ones that you need to fly above the locations out first. And then I will go ahead and land down on the surface of Minmus and get that last one knocked out. Get back up, dock up with the ship, and we'll probably head over to Duna because we're pretty much fueled up and we are ready to go. The only thing holding us up is this mission. I'm sorry. Like I said, I got overzealous picking up the contract. I saw the Minmus thing. I'm like, oh gosh, gotta do it. But we did complete the contract that wanted us to put a station in orbit of Minmus. So that is done because our ship more than sufficiently meets the criteria of something that would be classified as a station, even though I consider it a ship. And now it's It's kind of tough. Like, you're trying to line up here. It's kind of confusing a little bit. It's like, am I in the... Okay, so there I am, entering that zone. And I'm not actually collecting the gravitational data. I'm just selecting it. I'm hitting, you know, log the data, and then just canceling it. And that seems to be sufficient for completing the contract. And thank goodness for that. Because if I actually had to log this data, it would be a pain. Pain. All right, so I think we got one more to go here. Flying above. That knocks that out. And now we simply need to just land down. Unfortunately, again, I can't thank you guys enough for suggesting to go to Minmus instead of doing it off the moon. Anyways, this one's going to be for the next episode. I'm sorry. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.